Are we live? What's good, great people? I am Ezel Moon, and I have a special guest in the building today. Terrance Wheeler, the creator, the owner, CEO of Lumiere Vodka, shall be joining me for a frank conversation. I want to give a big shout out to my guy. He did this in the midst of a very trying time period that I can identify with. We're going through it together, and we'll talk about it when he gets on up here. Intro. My good brother, what's going on?
What's going on, brother man? What's going on?
How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Look, I ain't want to give him too much, but I know for a fact that you're in the midst of a transitional period, a transitional state, and I know how that goes. But keeping a smile, keeping a cool head,
Absolutely. Yeah, new city, new experiences, new network. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I would jump right on into it, but before we even got started with this, before we even got started, we were having a conversation about social media that I was just like, you know what? I'll bring that to the camera right now, sincerely. Like, people don't understand the pre-show banter is literally where it's really at. Like, the actual conversation before the show gets started, because Instagram has drastically changed to the point where, man, what? It's like you're in your own echo chamber. And if you don't like your echo chamber, you can't really change it too much, right? Like, if you can double tap on so many different things, but it's only like you might see a little bit show up inside your explore page, but you can't really, change that much, especially on my end. I mean, I try to help out like other people, other influencers and stuff, but it's still like, I mean, I want to see more houses and real estate and, and stakes on my explore page, but all I see is just influencer.
Yeah, you really have no control over the timeline generation and what you see, and the constant battle with social media is one, just having the creativity and time to consistently come up with that type of content that will put you front and center of all your followers. And the level of consistency of good content that you come up with determines the frequency that you can continually get in front of these people on an organic basis. Now, if you want to pay for that, like, let's say, you might have some low performing content that, that
you can try.
Yeah, you can try. Right, you can try.
You can try to throw a couple dollars behind it,
right?
But
it doesn't guarantee. It still doesn't guarantee.
It doesn't guarantee. Like, I'll never forget. I experimented with it, right? Because what I do is I do interviews, and the goal is help out charities and nonprofits. It like teach people through other people's stories, positivity, that type of stuff. But it's like, if it's not something that is clout chasey, clickbaity, things of that nature, you're not really gonna get the, if it's not something that says like, hey, there's some good stuff going. It's good stuff going on over here. But if it's not saying that, oh, hey, somebody got punched in the face, or I'm screaming on the mic at somebody else, like it's just. Right?
Yeah, if it's not scroll stopping within 3 seconds of catching their attention, they're probably not going to look at it immediately unless it gets shared. So now, if it gets shared, all right, that 3 seconds that you didn't catch everyone's attention, you get it back. And then you got to catch it within, that next 5 to 10 seconds. So it's got to be there. It's got to be there as far as, the creativity piece of coming up with this content.
Absolutely. And speaking of creativity, man, literally like going into your creativity with your bottle. Literally, the bottle reminds me of like, the champagne bottles that, yes, sir. Yeah. Right there. Right there. Go ahead. Full screen that for me right now. Full screen that right there. Yes, sir. Yeah. See that right there? That is something that you need to have on your shelf. But yeah, man. Speaking of creativity, the thought process and the mindset behind, utilizing not only just the insignia, but just coating the entire bottle in that color. Like, give us that. Like, where were you pulling from, and what do the colors represent for you?
Absolutely. As far as the overall design of the bottle, the color, you get this vibrant green
Right.
because it speaks psychologically. Colors are social currency for us. So immediately when we see
Yes.
certain colors, they actually spike certain emotions. And green is a very positive and memorable color for us. It speaks vibrancy, it speaks liveliness, it speaks freshness. The freshness is a very, very key word I like to emphasize for this brand and how the taste resonates amongst our sensory. And also, green is something. Whenever we see green, you think of money, you think of plants, you think of something that it's healthy for you, and it's a color that's very memorable, sticks. And so I don't, even though you might not know this brand name yet, or you might not see it at a party of yours, as long as it's on the shelf in the back of your mind, you can go pick that favorite brand of yours as many times as you want. This green bottle, Lumiere, will stick in your mind. And then when you see it again, it's like, oh wait, that brand, that bottle. And the
Mhm.
reason we concealed it is because almost every bottle in the vodka segment right now, is clear, it's got a label on it, and it just is what it is.
Right.
Like a commodified category. They don't like the brand or market themselves as much different than the next. And distilled this many times, filtered this many times, or then it comes from the same grains. No, we're made from malted barley and panela sugar. That's a trade secret recipe I created,
Whew.
and the bottle sticks out immediately at the point of sale. And the reason I chose this logo, so this logo is actually a trident, and
Right.
the 2 points on it stand for taste, culture, efficiency. And the
Mm.
trident stands for a symbol of dominance, power. If you remember, you have that mythological
Yeah. Poseidon with his
story
trident.
of Poseidon, correct?
Yeah.
And when that trident was in his hand for a reason, it was power, it was dominance, and that's what this brand is. It's something that's going to take over really, really quickly because of the taste aspect, because of the freshness. Immediately you pop open that cork, it doesn't smell like a traditional normal vodka, and the concept. Just look at it; it's a beautiful bottle.
It
So that's what
is.
Lumiere is.
Man, when I was looking at some of your prior interviews, one of the questions that you were asked was in regards to just rec you know recognizing that the overnight celebrity is not really an overnight celebrity. The overnight sensation is not really overnight. It really takes years for you to be recognized. Talk to us about um, where you are in that like where you are when you feel like inside of that sensationalism, when it comes to Lumiere. Where is it that, hey, I've come to that spot where, yeah, I'm good here, or what more is there to do in terms of the work?
So I think one special thing about Lumiere is we've been able to do a lot of good things really, really fast. We've been able to get into 130 points of distribution in about 9 months. We've been able to get featured in national publications, such as Forbes and Ebony. We've been able to, get it in the hands of key influencers within the region, get in front of a lot of the celebrity community. And I don't, it's a lot of industry professionals tell you, oh, this is a slow grind, it's delayed gratification, brand building takes this long. And I do believe brand building does take a long time, but I think if you're special
Mhm.
and when I say special, is when you understand how to resonate with people in a way that any other thing can't, there's no timeline on that. You ain't got to
Mm.
slap a timeline on it. You ain't got to slap a business theory on, a mathematical ideology on it. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And I think that I don't want to compare this brand to, this brand that sold in 4 years, or this vodka that did this well, or this other concept. We are in our own space and we're finding our own niche. And I think once we and the fact that we're starting to grasp onto this niche, and we're starting to catch everyone's attention quickly, we're just going to continue to grow that. You just keep grooming it, you keep growing it, you keep grooming it, and you create a space to grow for yourself, and then that's how you grow a brand, and that's how, and then it comes back to the personal branding piece. That's how it grows my brand, because it's all different, it's new, and that's what makes a new brand special and non-comparative to the others.
I wanted to actually ask you a question because I've heard so many different ways that it's been described. How would you describe the distillation process to a 5-year-old?
We distill it 3 times, 3 times in a Dutch whiskey still, and
Okay.
we don't filter it at all, and
Okay.
it makes it taste really nice and smell really nice.
I was literally, I was
That's
like,
elementary, right? That's simple, right?
that's it's simple. I was always, because I've always been like, wait, I've heard the word so many different times, and it's been an advertising piece for so many different companies, right? Like, oh, it's 7 times distilled. They'll print it on the bottle, 7 times distilled, 5 times distilled. But we like, it's like I'm thinking like, okay, so is it like is it like a washing machine? Like, what I'm saying? Like, have they, like, are they saying like they wash the stuff like 7 times, like 8 times? What's going on?
It's become an emphasized marketing feature for a lot of brands, because psychologically, brands who have done it historically have been successful when they put on their bottle. So if you look at, I'm just speaking hypothetically, like Sky Vodka, Sky Vodka, who was brought into the industry by Maurice Cambar, and they had this whole luxury concept, is distilled and filtered at a certain time, came in a pretty bottle at the time. That's when exquisite packaging started spiking too, and those brands really came in themselves as marketing like those key product features, and people are like, oh man, if it's distilled this many times, filtered this time, that means it's really clean, it's really neutral, and that's how I want my vodka. But so if they're all doing the same thing, doesn't that mean they're all the same thing? Like,
Right.
That's why I don't get how new brands are coming out. You'll put a new name on it, but then you're just doing the same thing. It's a commodity at that point. It's not different. So that's just that's me.
That's it. That's it's funny that you say that, because there's this quote that said, "You should care about what you are consuming, because if you don't, it will never change." A wise man once said that. You know who that wise man was?
I do not.
Terrance Wheeler.
Hey, you said it first, so I'm gonna go ahead and take credit for that. I'm gonna go ahead and take that credit.
I listened to it and I said, man, you know what? This guy really, no, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, you should care that, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to ask about, like the distillation process, and what exactly does that mean? Because there are going to be people that will watch this and be like, oh, 3 times distilled. So does that mean that it's better or worse than the thing that's 5 or 7 times distilled? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've just, that's why I really want to, but now I know it's a marketing ploy that has literally been just co-opted by so many different brands. Like, it's kind of like for tequila, like 100% blue agave. Like, that's something that I've heard. Like, I've heard so many different times with different tequilas.
Well,
Have you?
100% blue agave is an actual
It's an actual thing
and legal requirement for a tequila coming from Mexico. I mean, tequila can only be manufactured distilled in Mexico, but when it's 100% blue agave tequila, that means it only comes from the fermentable sugars of a blue agave plant. If it's just tequila, if it just says tequila, that means it has it comes from the fermentable sugars of blue agave, but there's also like stuffers and fillers. It could be sugar. It could be sugar water almost, and they're just, and what they do is, since it's more of they usually do that more of the volume brands, or there's probably some brands out there that people really, really like that are just tequila. It doesn't have that 100% blue agave label on there. And people don't really, that stuff is garbage. It's garbage. So I don't, People, it's very important to pay attention to these labels now because stuff is getting very specific, and you got to make sure you understand what you're drinking.
Absolutely. I think that that's one of the things that I've always thought about whenever it came to working inside of these. Because I worked security and outside these clubs before. I was literally like watching, just taking a look at what people were gravitating towards too, because I would also throw events myself. So it would be like, oh, okay, well, I see people really, well, they're down in that Casamigos. So, oh, okay, all right. I see people still order Ciroc every now and again. All right. And, just all these different things. But when it comes to Lumiere and being in the space, it's a luxury brand. Where do you want to see Lumiere consumed?
Wow, that's such a good question. I think, not I think, what we're currently trying to brand Lumiere as is a an occasion vodka. So
Mm.
when we mean that is, we'll call it the brand of success. So typically, where I like to, I go to my market strategy right now. I try to place us in premium or higher end restaurants, more upscale luxury restaurants that they're a lot of the time they're pouring wine. You have a sommelier coming to the table, things like that. Then we'll back it up with a really specific craft vodka brand. So they'll get a nice, tasty, exquisite cocktail that gives them that overall good mixology experience. We want places that are actually going to sell the vodka instead of just being dive bars or just pouring, 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 pouring. A lot of those volume brands, and so we want to be at nice restaurants, higher end restaurants. We want to be at craft cocktail bars. We want to be at intimate lounges that really have that more intimate experience. Like this is a brand where it makes you feel special. It elevates your experience. It's an experiential brand, and we don't want to make it seem like it's a $3,000 bottle and you can't. It's unaffordable. It's an affordable luxury though. You can go to the store and you can get it from anywhere to $26 to $29.99, and the more that we brand it around those momentous milestones for people or things that just people consider special, like going out to eat is a special thing for a lot of people. It's intimate. It cultivates a relationship, and if you put this around the cultivation of relationships, it makes it very memorable and it makes it very very special for people. So right now, that's typically where I like to place it on the on premise side. And on the off premise side, I mean, I when I say off premise, I'm talking about retail stores. I like to go for market saturation because I want everyone to see this bottle. I want as
Absolutely.
many people to get their eyes on this bottle as possible, because then that's just gonna create the awareness and recognition.
I wonder, for yourself, do you believe that a market can truly become oversaturated? Because it seems like when people talk about the oversaturation of different markets, that hey, how could that ever even happen? When one, people come and go, two, you know there are some things that people just connect to, and like whether it be a cult classic or a cult following of this thing, there are people that will purchase it. Can there be an oversaturation of any market in your eyes?
No, I don't think a market can be oversaturated. I do think a market can be saturated, like
Right.
a specific category. Why we have whiskey, gin, tequila, vodka. I think they can feel saturated, or you can have saturation taking place, but I don't think you're being oversaturated, because if you don't have a certain amount of saturation, then you'll have a lack of innovation. And if you don't have
Mm.
any innovation, then that means everyone's going to keep consuming the same thing, and then no new concepts are going to be developed. And if you're not creating new concepts, then how is the industry growing economically? That just means you just have a whole bunch of powerful key market players that are just going to control the industry forever. So saturation is very important because it contributes to the flow of innovation. and it's new. There's always going to be another smart person. It's important for another smart person to come along. So when people talk about, oh, well, vodka's so saturated, what are you going to do? How are you going to manage this? We're doing just fine. We're doing just fine. I mean, people try to create all that scare for me.
Right.
You just got to go out there and do it. You got to go out there and do it. You got to show people that you're different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a quote right there that you clip that and use that one, man. With no saturation, I mean, without saturation, then there's no innovation. I like that. I really do.
Thank you.
I want to go ahead and make sure prior to we get into our commercial break that I gave you your congratulations. I want to give you your flowers because on here it's not just about people learning through your experiences, people learning about you and the thing in which you are, what it is that you do, but also we got to give you your flowers, man. Congratulations on your John Barleycorn Awards.
Thank
you. I saw that. I had to make sure I give you a round of applause.
Thank you. That was a big one for us.
I felt like man, look, I'm like, man, I know for a fact that because the way in which they talked about it is like, man, this taste was just above the rest, and I know that it takes a lot. Somebody who cooks, I like to cook. I know it takes a lot to develop a recipe that is near and dear to you, that for a fact hits every time. So that it's not on the same level at all because your stuff is in stores. I'll just be in the kitchen, but but for you, that recipe, the thought process, the actual care. Talk to us about the care, that went into developing it. What it meant to you when you were able to get recognition for that care, because that award is something that says, hey, whoever's behind this knew what they were doing. Talk to us about that feeling.
Absolutely. So the level of care in Lumiere is it's significant. I mean, it's everything that I put my life's work into, from the bottle labeling, the recipe, everything about it. And it took 51 iterations to get to the finalized recipe that we have today for Lumiere. And the recipe is malted Dutch barley and panela sugar. We only use malted Dutch barley. And we procure our panela sugar from El Salvador. And the reason that we do this is the barley gives it a sense of viscosity and body, as the industry describes it, within the overall mouthfeel. And it gives it some weightiness when you taste it, that textural component. And then the panela sugar gives this aromatic dimension that's just so different for a vodka, that subtle sweetness and those really, really different tasting notes that you cannot find in any other vodka, because this is a trade secret recipe that's specific and proprietary to this brand. And I worked with my master distiller for 5 years to get that done. 5 years. It was literally batches going back and forth from the Netherlands to Maryland for 5 years. And my dream and my vision was to create a vodka that had a specific taste, a natural taste, nothing flavored. Flavor was it had its time, but I saw itself starting to phase out, and I knew it was going to get old soon, and something new was going to make a space. But as you can see right now, tequila and whiskey is really spiking because those categories carry specific taste profiles.
Right.
And if you create something that really accommodates that palate, now the category has innovation. And then we back it up. We don't compromise the health conscious benefits that those agricultural methods secure within this vodka as well. It's vegan. It's 67 calories per shot, and it's fresh tasting. When you taste it, you can literally taste the freshness of both that barley and that panela sugar. Panela sugar is organic by trade, and malted Dutch barley comes from the Netherlands, where they ban the use of chemicals, GMOs, and pesticides. So you can feel all that in the distillate, and then we don't filter that. And when it got in front of those judges at the taste competition, I think it was just a no-brainer for them. It's just you can feel the level of care, time, and craft that I put into this product, and I think it was. I don't want to even say I hate to say it when I say I think something because I do know it. When I had that when I got those results, I just sat there and I was like, wow. It was worth it. It was worth it. Like, you feel crazy because you keep doing it over and over. You don't see anything happening yet.
Yeah.
But when nothing was happening, everything was actually happening. So I think that's the best way I can describe it.
Man, that is you have a lot of quotables. When nothing was happening, everything was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That's literally how it worked out though. It's just it didn't feel like anything was happening at one point. I'm like, man, why do I keep creating these recipes? Am I gonna get there? Is it actually gonna happen? And then once it happens, am I actually gonna be special to people? And I think it's just one of those things when you put in that certain level of value, when you inject a value system into something, people feel it, people sense it. People have no choice but to become part of that system. They have no choice, and that's what happened.
You set a standard for yourself, man, that cannot be duplicated. I can't wait to get a bottle myself. Oh yeah, you already know, man. I got to do that. Oh no, I got to do that.
I gotta do that. I appreciate that.
I gotta do that. I honestly should be getting the DMV in a couple of weeks. So you know what I'm doing.
Sir.
You know what I'm in the midst of. So
we're in plenty of stores, my man. So definitely accessible.
Oh yeah. I wanted to we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, I do actually have the questions that I wrote down for you. That I have not. We're gonna touch on this Liddy juice for those who don't know.
Oh yeah, that's always a hit.
And so what we do here is we on the count of three we say commercial. So you ready? 1, 2, 3. Commercial.
Where you get your hip hop from? Yeah. What's up? This Tribal Trigger Trench in the building. You already know. Nip, naughty.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media.
What up, y'all, man? It's your boy Do It All, Do Pray Kelly, right here on Heritage Hip Hop, man. Look, man, let me tell you something. Make sure you support Heritage Hip Hop, because without these brothers bringing you hip hop, we're not gonna stay informed, man, the way that we need to stay informed, man. And they're not just giving you hip hop, man. They're giving you the heritage of hip hop, right here, man. Yo, Karev, I see you. Heritage Hip Hop, man. Let's do it. It ain't nothing like Heritage Hip Hop.
And we are back with my guy Terrance Wheeler, CEO of Lumiere Vodka. You guys make sure that if you're on the DMV, you hit the stores, you go get this ASAPington. It is shipping to over 47 states, if I'm not mistaken.
49. We ship to 49 states right now.
49.
We just don't ship to Alaska.
Oh, another round of applause! Right, they're gonna be on the ice caps with the green bottles. All right. But yeah, so I wanted to go into prior to Lumiere, you had Liddy Juice, and I know you talked about this time and time again, but I really got to get a story from you that no one has heard. Like, what was it? Give me something from when you was at Hampton and you was like, man, this happened, or when you were clearing out the shelves at the dollar store. I got to get something, man.
Absolutely. The Liddy Juice thing is It's something I stumbled upon. It is not nothing I planned to just do. It just I was just, man, I just saw people hustling in college, and I'm like, man, I need some money too. I need to come out and do. So I was looking around and I was like, man, people are always going to these parties and they're drinking jungle juices that everyone else is creating, and it makes them sick. And I'm like, man, what if I standardize this? What if I create something that people can actually consistently go to and trust? Same way, you go to 7-Eleven and you go get a Sprite every time. And I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna call it? And then everybody was calling everything lit at the time. This is lit, this party's lit. I'm lit, all this other stuff. I'm like, Liddy juice. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I took a snack baggie, I poked the hole through it with a straw, and I put my concoction in there, and I'm like, Liddy juice. So I remember, I think the first time I tried to introduce it was like a beginning of the year kickoff party, and started selling for like $5. And everybody started sipping it and tasting it. And it looked good, it smelled good, and it tasted good. And people were like, man, this man, what's that? What's that? What you got in your hand? And people were like, Liddy juice. And then all the women were all hype about it. And once the women are hype about it, then the men are hype about it. And everybody's like, man, like you had that Liddy juice. And then 6 months later, throughout throughout the school year, Liddy juice it's a brand. I didn't have a name anymore. My name was Liddy juice. When people saw me, man, like you talked to Liddy juice yet? Like it was like a thing every Friday and Saturday. And then it got to a point where it was every Thursday through Saturday. This apartment would be packed, and other schools started finding out about it in the area, like ODU, Christopher Newport, and then I was like, man, these little snack baggies they're moving. Oh, man, what's that thing in a bottle? So then I started going to dollar store. I remember one time I just grabbed the whole, and the lady was just like, why is he grabbing the whole shelf? And then I just had this shopping cart full of these bottles. She was like, what are you doing with all these bottles? I'm like, arts and crafts. So I'm sitting there, and then I had my inkjet printer. And I made a little label for Liddy juice, and it had this fiery font on it, and it had the biohazard sign. And I took these Avery name tag labels and printed Liddy juice on all of them, started smacking them on these bottles. That really blew the brand up, really blew it up. And like I said, I was just, it was really innocent in college, really innocent. I was just trying to just make a couple extra bucks on campus. And then one person walked in one day and asked me, do you want to start a liquor company? Like, man, what's all this for? I'm trying to start a liquor company or something. And I'm like, I just kept looking at it. I just kept pouring in Liddy juice. I'm like, go ahead, go take it. But it settled on me though. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, man, if I'm this good right now, how good can I be later? And I started going to library. I started studying. I started trying to get sales and marketing jobs and trying to learn. I just wanted to learn everything about it. And 5 years later, I'm here.
Yeah. As I was, like I said, just trying to do the research, man. When that person asked you that question, you said that bug never left your mind, and in my mind, I was saying, man, I feel like he felt the calling of purpose on his life, and I wondered, look, have you ever felt that about anything else? And if not, and shout out to, real quickly, you got somebody's about to purchase it in Detroit. Send
a bottle over there.
Yeah. They about to when you check analytics, you're gonna see somebody bought some in Detroit pretty soon. But when I was have you ever felt that calling of purpose when it came to anything else in this life, or has it just been this? And if so, where are you planning to take this? You know, I know you said you want this to be in high end restaurants, but still affordable luxury for those in different storefronts. But beyond that, where are you planning to take this?
So I want to break down this question. I think
Go.
that the first part of it was about purpose.
Right.
The I I definitely think I've been called to certain things in life, but I think they've been in their season.
Right.
You know, like at one point I feel like I was called to be an athlete. You know, I played football until it was time to stop playing football.
Right.
You know, I think that, you know, I wanted to I wanted to be a lawyer at one point.
Right.
I tried to be a lawyer until it was time where I was like, this ain't for me. You know, and the way that this called me was like a pool. It was like, and it wasn't about, it doesn't really have anything to do with liquor in itself, but it has to do with the fact that I'm building something.
Yes.
And not only am I building something, I'm building something that can help a lot of people. And I'm doing it at a time where most people would never really get this opportunity at this age. And I'm like, man, if you know, for me to be able to do this and become effective at it is something I can use to change the trajectory for a lot of people, and that's the purposeful aspect of it. It's not about pouring the liquor or you know, being in restaurants and working with the chefs or sommeliers or being up in the club holding a bottle up or any of that other stuff. It's just when I walk in the room, you know, I want to set the tone for a level of standard that if I can do it, it can happen for me. It can happen for you too. It can happen for you too. And here's the blueprint. And that's the purposeful aspect. And then as far as where I want it to go is I wanted my short-term goal is for it to be a national brand. I want it to, I mean, if I can get in every state, I'm going to get in every state. And my long-term goal is I want it to be an international conglomerate luxury empire. And I know I can hit both those goals. And once I have that level of infrastructure, then I can sow into other people and I can help them build that same system, that same way of thinking, that same level. Not even that same level. I can help cultivate their creativity. It's all about creativity cultivation. And then if as long as we can do that within our community, I mean, that's purpose. That's change. So that's what it is.
Man, I see it happening for you. I did want to something that I was wanting to talk to you about, and that was the life that you lead outside of being an entrepreneur. You know, I heard the little ones in the background. You know, I'm like, okay. My man's you proud
not a dad. I'm an uncle. It's actually my nephew's little birthday party in the background. So he's got his friends over now.
Okay. Ever considered being a father?
Definitely at a later point. I'm a hold off for a little bit until I get, you know, I don't want to be running around and trying to be a father at the same time. But
right, you can't go to the Netherlands and back to the DMV.
Yeah, once it's time for to be a father, I want to be a father. You know, I want to be able to split the two off. So
absolutely. The legacy aspect, man. I feel like you've touched on it a few times, especially when you talking about the national brand, immediately international brand, in the long term. But when they speak on who Terrance Wheeler was, what do you hope that they say?
Wow, that's a powerful question. I I want people to know that I'm that person who never gave up. And I think if people see that in somebody else, then they can see that in it for themselves. And not only see it, have something tangible they can hold. Like this bottle. What the special thing about having a product is you can speak through your product without even being there. And this is a byproduct I never gave up. I don't, as many times as people basically told me to get out, or they don't want to email me back, they don't want to call me back, they don't want to work with me, they don't want to they don't want to help me get better, they don't want to give me any advice, they don't want to put me on with somebody. I still made it happen. I still became effective. I I still helped it grow. I still was able to figure it out. And that's the message that I want this product to disseminate. And that's where I want that's what I want to be remembered under Terrance Lemire, Terrance Will. I want it to be that I never gave up.
Man, your product is definitely a reflection of that, man. And I'm, like I said, I'm very honored to be able to sit with you this evening. I want to get into the goal of the show, and that is philanthropy, garnering support from the audience and putting it towards a charity or nonprofit that you care about. What charity or nonprofit would you like to spotlight today? Initiatives that you would like to mention today, and why is it important to you?
Yes. So giving back to underserved communities and children overall is a big philanthropic initiative for us. So we are partnered with Moolah Wireless to be able to distribute tablets, internet service connectivity, and technological resources and training to underserved kids, families, and communities. So one thing that we'll be doing this holiday season, this fall, is putting together an event where we can get a lot of families in one room to help them and give them and give back these resources. I have a teaching background. I taught for about a year, and I really saw a spot for kids and helping them just be able to have a chance, and I think this is something that can really be impactful, and I can't wait to see it happen. The more we plan it.
Man, I'm honestly, I definitely have a soft spot myself because I'm actually still in the classroom.
Wow.
By day, I do so much. But yeah, no, I want to say thank you so much for what it is that you are trying to do. I honestly cannot wait, and however I can be of service to you, just let me know, and I definitely will. I also have some things I have some events that I would like to see your brand at in the future. I'm slowly but surely trying to build up a network so that I can help out those who have decided to take the time to be on the show. But we'll definitely discuss that later on. Thank you again. Before we close out, we have tradition here where we like to leave with words of wisdom. And so what words of wisdom would you have for someone who's at that breaking point, right? Who wasn't able to raise the $66,000 out of college, like the person that was like that only was able to get that $1. What words of wisdom would you have for them?
Well, I think the biggest words that are on my heart today are that don't be afraid to figure it out again. So just because what you thought would have worked out for you, for the plan A, the plan B, the plan C, and it still didn't work out, you can figure it out again. You can figure it out again. And that's all I did. I kept figuring it out. You got to show up every day. You got to show up every day. So when things get tough, when it looks like the breakthrough is far in distance, don't be afraid to figure it out again. It's right next to you. It's actually right in front of you a lot of the time. Just keep showing up every day. Keep trying to figure something out.
Absolutely. Terrance, how can we follow you? How can we support you? Go ahead, shamelessly plug. Go ahead, let them know. What can we do?
Absolutely. So you can find Lumiere Vodka, Lumiere, no spaces between Lumiere and Vodka on all social platforms. Predominantly, we're prevalent on Instagram and Facebook, and you can follow me as well, Terrance Lumiere, on Instagram, on Facebook as well. You can look me up and connect with me. Send us an email at info@lumierevodka.com, and we'll see if it's a good fit for us to sponsor your event. Look forward to hearing from y'all.
Man, most definitely. I am at Ezel Moon, at Ezel Moon _ You can catch me here on Saturdays on the He Said What Network, and on Thursdays over at Texas Greek Picnic. And y'all make sure you guys stay tapped in. We have some amazing guests on the way, kind of like this amazing one we had today. And big shouts out to my guy. I really can't wait to further this discussion with you. And honestly, hopefully in the future we have an in-person interview, with the bottle present.
Absolutely.
And in consumption. So yeah. That being said, thank you again, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. We say outro.